Well, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of season 15 of the Giveaway Show by me, Jerry Holley, part of the Special Chronicles Network. Hope you all caught up on seasons 1 through 14 of the Giveaway Show, as well as the first 4 episodes of season 15, as well as the recap specials of season 1 through 14, and my special, The Road to 2022 USA Games, which talks about my training up to and the results of my training at the 2022 USA Special Olympics USA Games in Orlando, Florida. So, folks, those are tuning in for the first time. Season 15 is all about the history of the Give Vibe show. So far, I've talked about the premise, the transition from Instagram to Zoom with OBS Studios. Basically, end up talking about when it became a podcast during the Special Chronicles Network and social media. And just recently, I talked about all the guests. And now I'm going to talk about the technology and also all the fun Zoom backgrounds I've done. So, first off, the technology part is originally was just on a very old laptop camera. Actually, on, believe it or not, my laptop camera. And eventually, I decided to, when I eventually did things, got a, believe it or not, a video camera. And I actually bought to use to do some filming. Also, I did some various IO techniques. I did earbuds, headphones. I had a decent mic at one point. I still actually have it. It's just not hardly used anymore because it was causing, believe it or not, in later episodes, a harder time to keep up with the. It was like out of sync, so I ended up having to do some fun video editing in open shot video, which actually I do apologize. It was referenced earlier on in one of the early in episode 2, I believe. Actually, it was episode 2 of this season, so I actually now know the name of the software to correct you all. And so like it had some confusing things to do in there, and like it was fun to fool around with the audio, but also technically while fooling around with the audio, you had to sort of fool around with the opening as well as getting those audios down because I apparently actually got feedback on those that that those were so loud, but my audio was like my voice audio was horrible or subpar, I'm gonna say. And so yeah, basically yeah, that was fun trying to get that corrected and so far and yeah. Well, excuse me for a second. That was kind of hard to do when to get it to modify to make it so much better, just my own voice, as well as the music volume, which actually, if those who pay attention thus far to the season, I introduced a whole new intro with a new song because I felt it was time to do it. And because also I was kind of getting tired of the original song I used getting flagged for copyright when it was not copyright infringement anyway. So, but yeah, it was kind of a good thing that happened to change it up and so forth with the technology. And so yeah, I was talking about I got a decent mic that had like I actually have part of it right here still. This part of it. So unfortunately, this is part of it. It still have it, but the mic is still around actually. Our original camera I was using for a bit still around. But I decided to eventually just upgrade to a better camera as of last year, thanks to Amazon Prime Days, as well as this very fun, nifty mic you see here now, to do better audio and such. And believe it or not, this mic actually catches a lot of noise. So if you were paying attention to more recent seasons, like within the last year, you actually can hear about me because where I film, believe it or not, is in my basement and such. And believe it or not, that's actually how at one point season 2 of the Good Vibe Show went on from. But obviously, a lot of people who paid attention to the first season, most of the season 2 of the Good Vibe Show was up in my, believe it or not, my bedroom. So yeah, and every now and then I switch down here. Obviously, you can might hear audio, so that's why I had to get some very fancy mics and obviously and everything. So obviously that's big. But OBS Studio has been part of most of this, and believe it or not, most of the episodes, or actually, all the episodes of the Good Vibe Show have been done, had to be done through OBS Studios eventually, and then edit on OpenShot Video Editor to do things. So yeah, basically, like I said, so audio's being knocked off because of the mic I had was totally now getting out of sync with things. So yeah, no, that's why you have to switch technology every so often. And folks, you might have heard me when I throw the one thing aside. Yeah, that's just proving the fact that how powerful this mic is. So yeah, but that's just all the fun tech stuff and everything. And yes, it's kind of fun doing it. And I have to store all these things. And eventually I might have to get a bigger external hard drive. But those who were kind of paying attention throughout the show, the Good Vibe show as it was in video format, you saw like these amazing Zoom backgrounds that were animated and all this, and eventually coming to this. Yeah, some of those were unfortunately flagged at one point that they had to be removed from, believe it or not, Instagram and Facebook, sadly, but they're still in existence on YouTube, thankfully, and their audio still exists to this day as well, so that's the good thing. But yeah, I had so many different animated backgrounds, and I was having too much fun with those, and eventually, I think it was like well over 2 dozen different backgrounds that I eventually just sell, just keeping with the actual what's in the actual Good Vibes logo, Good Vibes Show's logo. And I constantly kind of fooled around with it to make it better. And so this is kind of like the newest form of it. And I like it this way. And I think those who like all those anime ones, I'll admit they were kind of confusing to watch. There were quite a few jellyfish ones because my friend Josh Smirsky, who's the co-host of the Sounds Like Autism podcast, like jellyfish. Okay, just to clarify, they're called jellies. Just to let everyone know that. But I did do a CR once too. I've done so many various backgrounds I've lost track. But I'm kind of thankful that I went to a more stationary one because when filming those with the moving backgrounds, they were kind of like, honestly, even for myself, like I might have been distracted, to be honest. I probably was. I was just like going with it, honestly. But now it's kind of good how the show just has a standard Zoom background. Because yes, I do record via Zoom on through OBS Studios, and it has worked out well. And I think some people kind of appreciate it's just a simple background. And I think eventually I would like to have something better, but honestly, sometimes simpler is better. Honestly, and I think that's kind of a big thing about the Give Out Show is like it doesn't have to be all complicated and everything. So yeah, so like I said, this show is very ad lib because of the structure, but that's just who I am with doing this show, and I think it has worked excuse me for a second, folks, successfully because of that format. And I think that's what's made the show possible to be all this stuff. And I think moving forward, because obviously I've talked about what is the trajectory of the show, and I think looking at it right now as technology advances, there may be better stuff. Obviously, I will eventually have to get a new brand new laptop and a new external hard drive, which may allow me to do better, faster processing for these shows. But I think it's all going to work out in the end because the show will evolve with the technology, and it always has. And so do the backgrounds, honestly. But like I said, everything grows in tandem with one another. And I think that's a good thing about the Good Vibe Show because it's ever changing for the better for you, the viewers and such, and the listeners. So I just want to appreciate for y'all for some of the funny antics I did back in the day with all the moving anime Zoom backgrounds and all the fat, wacky backgrounds that were just stationary, and just suddenly on this, eventually, yeah, it just works out well. So I thank you all for actually taking the opportunity to enjoy those as well. So here's our great sponsor ad from our sponsor, the Special Chronicles Network. The Good Vibe Show is proud to be featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, now known as X. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast, The Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Holy. If you love The Good Vibe Show, then you love the other podcasts on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. And to support the podcast on the Special Chronicles Network, so we continue our mission of giving respect and voice to people with special talents and abilities, visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. And folks, I do apologize when I threw my old part of the mic thing that was actually the noise canceller. I accidentally hit a balance pad. It's totally off scene, but actually that just proves the point how strong this mic is and picking up any noise randomly. So yeah, I apologize for that if you've heard that in the background a few times, but just tells you that, hey, that's how good technology is for this show. So also, I want to remind you folks to remember to follow the Good Vibe Show on Instagram at GoodVibesByJH and Facebook, facebook.com/GoodVibesByJH. You can also follow it on YouTube, youtube.com/GoodVibesByJH. You can subscribe to The Give Out Show by me, Jerry, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you want to personally support me, you can look me up on Rebo, Jerry M. Holy. One of the designs is the new pattern you see on this Hawaiian shirt. That's kind of a fun thing to work with. But I have other designs done. I'm constantly trying to come up with new ideas every so often. So feel free to buy something, send it to friends, family, anyone if they want to support it that way. Because I do appreciate all the support again there. Because it's a big part of actually making sure that this show is Again, I apologize for this, folks. Successful, and just basically helps me also sort of expand my realm of doing things as a not only as a podcaster but as a graphic artist, I guess you can say in this case, or a graphics art designer. I don't know the proper term, so yeah. Anyway, until next week for episode 6 of the Give Out Show on the Special Chronicles Network, I thank you again for tuning in for episode 5 of season 15 of the Give Out Show on the Special Chronicles Network. So until next time, folks, I'll see you there, obviously. But until next time, peace out. Boop, blah. Have a great time, folks. And actually, here's a fun tidbit. Why I do all that stuff, because I just did it for the fun of it, the show. But it works. And also, I actually had a very favorite movie where that motion came in. So it was worth it. So yeah, until next week for episode 6, stay positive, folks. And you just got a more fun tidbit from this episode. So you just got probably one of the best histories of the Give Back Show because of that. But I'll talk more about that thing in the later seasons, in the episodes that talk about the seasons where it sort of came part of the rhythm. So until next week, folks, stay positive, and I'll see you next week for episode 6 of the Give Back Show by me, Jerry Haley, part of the Special Chronicles Network. Till then, bye, everyone.